From authoritarian rule in the 1980s to democracy in the 90s, followed by an opening to the world along with rapid economic growth. And all of that in the shadow of a powerful, authoritarian, and hostile neighbor. You could think I'm describing Taiwan, but all of it is also true for many countries in Central and Eastern Europe. So, are shared experiences enough to build sustainable relations between Taiwan and the region? I'm Tomasz Koper, and this is Connected on Taiwan Plus. Joining us today to discuss the economic opportunities and geopolitical obstacles between Taiwan and Central and Eastern Europe, we welcome Mitch Yang, the former managing partner of the Central and Eastern Europe Investment Fund at Taiwania Capital, established by Taiwan's National Development Fund, and a former NASA engineer, and Marcin Jerzewski, the head of the Taiwan office of the think tank European Values Center for Security Policy. Both are speaking to us from Taipei. Mitch, I want to start with you here. How have the relations between Taiwan and Central and Eastern Europe countries, especially economic ties, have been developing over the years, and what's driving this development currently?
Well, Tomasz, thank you for having me on the show. In the past few years, I've been doing startup investment in the CE region, and the money is from the Central and Eastern European funds that provided by the National Development Council of Taiwan. And through that experience, I learned that the majority of Taiwan and even Taiwanese government don't know much about the region. And with this kind of activity started from initiating by Taiwanese government and the government in the region through the activity during COVID, Taiwan started to engage in governments, private sectors, and even scientists and institutions in the area to co-work together to take the strengths of different countries and Taiwan and to come together to develop something that is unique, that can only be developed through this kind of cooperation. Majority of them is, of course, in semiconductor and electronic. However, in biotech, in EV, in aerospace, in industrial automation, there are so many areas, so many sectors that Taiwanese and both governments and private sector can work closely with people in the CE region to develop and for the benefit of both areas, both parties.
Are these decisions driven only by economic considerations, or is there a more ideological connection? Those are all young democracies that we're talking about, after all, right, Mitch?
Well, look at what happened in the world. It has to be both, right? Look at what happened, in United States and what happened in Europe, all over the world. It has to be both. That's why the action from U.S. to cut the supply chain, the wrecked supply chain from China and all their friends. So it has to be both. However, in order to be sustainable, in order to have longevity, it has to be economy. It has to be money driven. It has to be profitable. So that's what we are trying to do. We want to make it sustainable. You have to make money. You cannot just, because we all believe in liberty, democracy, human rights, and rule of law, then we're pumping a lot of money trying to pump up something that cannot be sustained. It doesn't work that way.
Well, Marcin, are we seeing a similar interest that European companies, European investors are taking in Taiwan, sort of going the other way?
Collectively, the 27 member states of the European Union make up the largest source of foreign direct investment in Taiwan. And precisely this imbalance, so Europe investing heavily in Taiwan and Taiwanese companies only slowly discovering Europe as a feasible investment destination, have been sort of a source of a stall in development of economic ties on both sides. However, the European Union as a whole in recent years, particularly after 2020 and amid the broader wave of mutual interest and excitement about potential for development of informal, albeit substantive ties between both sides, has invested heavily in institutionalization of channels that would make this relationship more equitable. So, for example, putting in place a regular EU-Taiwan investment forum has constituted an important platform for making investment relations more sustainable on both sides. But indeed, Taiwan has had a historically strong relationship in terms of investment partnerships with European countries as well. And here, for instance, we can look at the Netherlands as an extremely important player in this field, also because Taiwan's semiconductor industry relies quite heavily on Dutch machinery.
Well, speaking of investments, let's take a look at where the economic opportunities lie for Taiwan and Central and Eastern European countries. Taiwania Capital's Central and Eastern Europe Investment Fund evaluated a total of 513 companies by mid-2024. Of those, over a third were in the AI and software industry, while almost a quarter came from biotechnology. Closing out the top three was the smart city sector with almost 12% of companies. Mitch, so are we seeing this dominance of software and biotech for a reason? Is this what CE has to offer? Or is it what Taiwanese investors are looking for in Central and Eastern Europe?
I think it's more with the true strengths of the region of the countries in the area. CEE countries all have very deep root in science and both in bio and medical and basic science. Math, physics, chemistries are very, very strong in these countries. So both Poland, for instance, both Poland and Czech Republic have very strong history in biology, chemistry, and even the medicine development. So it's not surprising that when Taiwania Capital went into that area and looked for a startup company, we met a lot of biotech companies that actually are doing a very, very good job. And also in software, this region has been very, very rich in good software company and good software development. So when Taiwanese company who needs software support and good software engineering, they go to the area already. So when we go there, we see the opportunities. So this is no brainer. Opportunities there, the talents are there. And that's why we invest in those sectors. And particularly when these sectors that the software sector in Taiwan is not strong. The biotech sectors in Taiwan actually is pretty good, but we need people to help. We need complements, and those complements are actually found in the region. And that's why the biotech and software sectors are actually the shining stars in our investments.
Well, Marcin, are there strategies, are there procedures in place in Central and Eastern Europe to attract investment from Taiwan?
Absolutely. Countries in Central and Eastern Europe have become much more open to investment as the main channel of their interactions with Taiwan. And one of the strategies on which we may want to shed a little bit more light is the new semiconductor strategy published by Poland. Sharing a border with Germany that has become home to TSMC's first investment in Europe, Poland, together with the Czech Republic, have very high hopes to form a so-called Central European semiconductor triangle. So even though the plant itself would be located in Dresden, there are very high hopes that Taiwanese companies that are a part of the broader ecosystem of TSMC's production will want to set up other facilities in neighboring countries. So they said Poland and Czechia. The Ministry of Digital Affairs of the Republic of Poland has explicitly named Taiwan as one of the most important potential partners for the development of a semiconductor industry in the country. And also there is quite a lot of interest in engaging with Taiwanese partners among local provincial governments, mainly in Lower Silesia, so the part of Poland that borders with Germany and with Czechia, but also other places, Silesia and the central Polish province of Łódź. So I am highlighting this number of stakeholders because the push to get involved with Taiwan is something that we see not only at the highest echelons of government, but also in local administrations as well. And this kind of support at provincial level, at municipal level, will also be very consequential for attracting Taiwanese investment, given the a number of procedures that need to be completed so that relevant facilities can be up and running. For example, sufficient water supply, sufficient electricity supply. So it's good to see that this sort of move to engage with Taiwan as a multi-stakeholder approach is not something only horizontal across central government, but also vertical in cooperation with local partners.
Well, Mitch, we know that other semiconductor investment projects are a mix of economic and geopolitical factors, diversification, onshoring. We've seen those in other places around the world in recent months and years. So how do you see this significance or the significance of this project in Dresden with the semiconductor triangle between Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic for both Taiwan and the European Union?
So we have to look at the semiconductor industry as a whole ecosystem. It's not just the manufacturing part of semiconductors. Think about it. The ecosystem includes, say, IC design, and also have a lot of software tools development that using IC design, verification, and packaging, and also mechanical design part for machines that are using both in packaging and manufacturing. So if we just focus on machine built by, say, Dutch and also used by TSMC, that's the only part of it. The ecosystem, the supply chain, including software that can be developed, say, IC design in Czech Republic, and the other machinery design and software design in optimizing and also verification of those design can be done in Poland. So the ecosystem actually can be established through this cooperation and concerted effort, first among Taiwanese government ministries and big corporations in Taiwan, also among central governments and regional government in Germany, in Poland, and Czechia. So if these two parts can come together, then our idea of a silicon triangle within the region can be established and can be self-sustaining. However, and concerted effort need to be put together. Now, we cannot just have a different entity that are trying to work out this way. It doesn't work this way because it's a very, very complex, it's very, very heavy capital investment, and everybody has to come together to play the right role. Not just a big facility like TSMC has in Dresden. There are so many opportunities. So people have to understand the strengths, the different people, different area, different region, and then come together. So someone has to come out and do that kind of planning.
Well, Marcin, is everyone in Poland and Czechia understanding their roles or how that semiconductor triangle, the silicon triangle, will work? Because I know that not everyone, at least in Poland, is kind of singing in unison about Poland's role in this coming project.
Absolutely. I believe that the concept of the Central European silicon triangle or semiconductor triangle is still a nascent one, and it will take some time to develop this level of synergy about which you're inquiring right now. We have to bear in mind that in the Czech Republic, we are now gearing up for a parliamentary election in October, which is very likely to unseat the current Spolu coalition, whose emergence in Czech politics in 2021 has been a crucial factor for further expansion of various forms of engagement between the Central European country and Taiwan, including in the economic domain. In Poland, the awakening to the reality of economic opportunities, but also the necessity to back ambitions with actual resources only emerged in political consciousness after the withdrawal of a potential lucrative investment in the semiconductor sector by the American company Intel. That is also making headlines these days. So in order for this triangle to materialize, we need to see not only this type of whole of government cooperation at vertical level, which I mentioned when discussing the role of municipal government, but also a political agreement to sufficiently invest in the development of this industry. The European Union as a whole is pushing very heavily for achieving strategic autonomy in critical sectors, which includes semiconductors, which also includes quantum computing and AI technology. So those that will rely very heavily on the most advanced semiconductor technologies. So there is a lot of potential for Central Eastern European countries to partake, but indeed there is a need for more synergy between stakeholders, and also even within the three countries that would make up this possible triangle, there is a need to identify particular areas where comparative advantage may be identified instead of these countries looking at each other primarily as competitors, as is occasionally the case in the ongoing conversations.